Hi, this is April from the Noble Garden. Today is April the 8th and I am going to get my garden in. I'm super excited to bring you along. When I plant my garden, I use a little bit of the square foot method where it tells you every foot how many of each plant you could put in it. So I do a little bit of that, and then I do a little bit of knowing how much room. Just from gardening in the past, I know some plants just need more room than others. Needs more room than what the square foot method uses. The other thing I do is I try really hard to stay away from non-organic ways of growing. I haven't always in the past. There's a couple years I had to use some stuff because it needed it. But this year when I plant the stuff in the ground, this is what I'm going to be using. This right here is a fungi that helps with the root system. And I want to give it a try this year. I've done a lot of research in it, and I've also watched some other YouTubers that I view use it. I thought I was buying a bag of it, but come to find out this is actually a water-soluble concentration. And on the back, it tells me to put a scoop in a gallon of water. So that's what I'm going to do. The other thing I like to use in my garden is worm castings. So let me show you how I'm going to use these in the garden. So here is a diagram of the square foot method that I use. You can find this online. I found this on garden365.com if you want to look that up. I know it's kind of hard for y'all to see because it's so bright out here, but we're going to do cucumbers first. So according to this, every square foot you can do 2 cucumber plants. So I'm going to plant mine every 6 inches. So these are the 4 different types of cucumbers I'm going to grow. We really like to try different brands. I'm also trying to find a perfect pickling for me. I have noticed that the Summert one is the one I like the most. I got the straight A from my dad because I'm curious about it. And then the Armenian long is actually a melon, not a cucumber, but a lot of people use it as a cucumber, and I've eaten it like a cucumber, and I really like it. And then my best friend used this one. I don't know how well you can see the name of it, but it's called Munter. And it self-pollinates itself, so I'm really interested in that one, and it's supposed to be a yummy cucumber. So with this little tool right here, I made myself a little ditch all the way along. I learned that from my dad yesterday, so I'm going to try it out. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump the seeds that I want in each one. Hopefully you guys can see those seeds. I do use little tags so that I know what's there. These little white tags I have left over, but I do have some popsicle sticks I used too. Look, here's Gladys. And she seems to be a little nosy, and I watched her eat my cucumber seeds, so I'm going to have to watch her closely. And every time I'm done with one, I'm going to have to go ahead and cover them up, apparently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of the worm castings on it. I'm going to sprinkle little worm castings over every seed area, like that. And then I'm going to cover them up. Just like that. And then I'm going to water them in a little bit with the water mixture that I made that has that micro fungi stuff in it. So the next thing I'm going to plant asparagus beans. So they remind you a lot of green beans. As they grow, I'll show them to you because you cook them a little different, but they're very yummy. And then I'm going to do all my melons. I'm doing a cantaloupe, a Kajari melon I found through another YouTube viewer that I watch, and they look like very interesting melons, and I can't wait to taste them. Honeydew, pumpkin, and then the melons, you want to plant them according to the square foot method, a foot apart. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do the asparagus beans, and since they are beans according to the square foot method can be planted 4 for every foot, so I'm going to plant them every 3 inches. And what I'm doing is I'm dropping 2 seeds. I'm going to spread it out just a little bit, and then if I get too many that pop up, I can thin them out. So there's 2 there. And I'm only going to do 3 of these because I have the other side I want to do. And the other side, actually has peas growing on it. So I'm not going to dig that trench. I'm just going to go right beside the peas and plant the asparagus beans. By the time that the peas are done, and it may actually be getting too hot for peas, we'll see. I might end up not getting anything from these peas at all. If it seems like the asparagus beans are going stronger, then I'll just pull the peas out. So right here beside, I'll dig me a little hole and I'll put 2 seeds. There we go. The next thing I'm gonna put in is my corn, and I have 2 different types of corn. We tried the Golden Bantam last year and we really liked it. And then yesterday my dad gave me this sweet corn that's silver and gold hybrid. So it was a yellow and a white corn mixed together, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And according to the square foot method, you would do 2 every square feet, so I'm gonna plant them every 6 inches. So like everything else you've watched me grow, or plant I mean, I am putting 2 a little bit apart, put the 6 inch, and then put 2 more seeds at the end. The next thing I'm going to plant are my pole beans. In the past, I used to do bush beans. Then last year, my dad did really good with pole beans. So in the fall, I decided to try them, and I really liked them. And me and my husband have been looking for like the perfect bean that we like. I think we like that Kentucky bean. But I'm going to try the Blue Lake again. And then one of the YouTubers I follow really like rattlesnake beans, so I wanted to give those a try. So what I'm going to do for these is, you see this cattle panel? I'm just going to be every one of those, I'm going to plant a seed. So just like I've done everything else, I made myself a little ditch, and I'm going to drop 2 seeds in a little far apart, and then I'll thin out as they start to grow. I had 28 of these, so I'm gonna do 8 of each type. So what I think I'm gonna do is in this bed, I already have the broccoli, cauliflowers in here, and I think in the middle of those, I'm gonna put the zucchini. And a zucchini is considered a summer squash. According to the square foot method, it is a foot apart as well, so I brought my 12-inch ruler out. I am a little concerned about chlorine them like this, but it is getting hot, and sometimes broccoli and cauliflower don't do good when it gets hot. So if they start to bolt and not do good, then I can pull them up. Zucchini is also gonna, you got that week that's gonna take to even sprout up. We'll just see what grows faster and how things go, and I'll go from there. And I'll have to decide to either sacrifice the space or sacrifice the plants, but I'll decide that when I get there. The other thing I'm going to do is I dig myself some holes. This is yellow squash, so it needs to be done a foot apart each. And I'm putting a little bit of worm casting in every hole. And I'm going to dig it up to where I'm going to bury up to there of this squash. So here are my squash, and I buried them pretty deep in there. And I didn't do that to help with this root system. I did that because I deal with a lot of squash borers, and from several people I've heard to bury them as deep as you can so that they don't get a hold of that stem. So I'm willing to try that out this year. I know my squash looks puny and pathetic, but I'm hoping with the root stuff I put in there, that micro fungus stuff we've been talking about, and then I'm hoping a real good watering will help. It was really, really hot today. I'm transplanting these in the afternoon. I did water them this morning, but they were kind of dry when I just took them out. So hopefully a good deep watering will help them. So the last thing I'm going to put in the ground is this okra, and this is Clemson Spineless. It's the only okra I've ever tried, and I'm the only person in my family that actually likes the okra, so I'm not going to plant but like 2 plants since I'm the only one who eats it. And for her, okra is one of those that produces a lot. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to make me a drench or a row or whatever. I'm just going to dig me a little hole right here, and then maybe one right here, because it is a 12-foot thing, but like I said, I only need a few. And drop me a few seeds in there with some of the worm castings like everything else. So all I have left to do in the few plants that we just planted, because all the rest of them from the earlier part of the video have already got this watering, but in my watering can I have that fungi mixed with water for instruction. So I'm just going to pour directly over the spots that I planted the seeds to help with that. Okay, I'm going to do that to all of them. All right, the last thing I'm going to do to these plants before signing off on their planting for today is give them a good soaking, because you want to give them what they need to get over this there's a thing called transplant shock, and they're going to go through that. But seeds also need water. Before signing off on this video, I did get everything in except for my herbs, my flowers, and my tomatoes, which I will do in a separate video. I do a little bit of flowers in my garden because I do think it's pretty. I also know that they attract the bees, so it helps with the pollination. But some flowers actually have benefits in the garden, and when I put them in, I'll go one by one and tell you the benefit of putting them in, and then I'll show you how I do my tomatoes. Thank you everybody for watching.